My friend told me he watched me from outside my apartment, but I live on the 17th floor. And when I opened my door, I found myself standing on the other side. Smiling. Waiting. You can't hide from something that wears your face. That night, I had crashed early. I remembered sitting on my couch scrolling through memes, the glow of my television painting weak shadows across the furniture. The last thing I recalled was the quiet hum of the refrigerator and the faint, rhythmic tapping coming from somewhere above me, the tenants upstairs, I assumed. But sometime deep into the night, I stirred. Not fully awake. Just enough to sense something was off. My apartment felt colder than it should. Like someone had opened a window. But all my windows were locked, tight, secure, sealed. I forced my eyes open, but the room looked normal. Normal, yet wrong. The kind of wrong you feel before you see it. There was a shape. Just a silhouette against the balcony door. Still. Perfectly still. Facing inward, as if watching me. I don't remember sitting up. I just remember being upright suddenly, blinking hard, my heart thudding like fists against a door. When I blinked the second time, the silhouette was gone. Vanished. I convinced myself it had been sleep paralysis. A half-dream. An exhaustion hallucination. But then morning came, and the real nightmare began. Marcus showed up for breakfast, still wearing that strange smile from the night before. He wasn't his usual self, something in his eyes was unfocused, like he was looking through me instead of at me. And when he sat down, he rubbed the back of his neck like it hurt. That's when he said it. "Bro. I watched you from outside last night." I laughed. I thought he was messing with me. But his face didn't change. He described the exact layout of my balcony. Down to the way the left railing bends slightly inward from when the movers dented it. He described the pajamas I had been wearing that night. He described how I had sat up suddenly, exactly the way I remembered doing. And then he said the thing that still makes my skin crawl even now. At first I thought you saw me, but then I realized you looked right through me. Right through him. A chill crawled up my arms. "What do you mean through you?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He blinked slowly, as if thinking hard, and said, "It wasn't me, but it was me. You know? I didn't know. I didn't want to know." Before I could question him further, he suddenly grabbed the sides of his head, hard, and winced, whispering, "It's getting loud again." Then he left. Just walked out of my apartment without another word. And I was left alone at my kitchen table with a cold cup of coffee and the horrible realization that the silhouette I saw on my balcony wasn't a dream. And whatever it was, Marcus believed it was him. Or something that looked like him. That was the moment the investigation began. The moment the fear settled into my bones. And the moment I realized something had been watching me not just that night, but for far longer. Something that could climb 17 floors without being seen. Something that could copy my friend's voice. His posture. His shape. And it wasn't done with me. Not by a long shot. I didn't hear from Marcus for 2 days after that. Not a single text or call. Which was unlike him. This was the guy who once spammed my phone with 70 messages because he wanted to know which pizza toppings were philosophically correct. Silence was not his style. On the third day, I finally decided to check on him. His apartment was a 15-minute walk from mine. I took the stairs. Lately elevators made me feel trapped. Too many enclosed spaces. Too many reflective surfaces. His door was unlocked. That was the first bad sign. The second was the smell, not rot exactly, just an unnatural stillness, like the air had been left unused for too long. "Marcus?" I called. No answer. I stepped inside. The curtains were drawn. But faint daylight leaked in around the edges, outlining dust motes drifting lazily in the air. Something had happened here. But nothing was broken. Nothing overturned. Nothing missing. Just, wrong. Again that same wrongness I'd felt in my own apartment. Then I noticed something. On the wall opposite the door, from floor to ceiling, were horizontal marks. Thin scratches. Dozens of them. Evenly spaced, like someone had dragged their fingernails over the surface, repeatedly, until their fingers split. I leaned closer. There was something beneath the scratches. Words. Not carved intentionally, but formed accidentally by the repeated motions. Letters emerging through repetition. A phrase. Let me out. My stomach clenched. Marcus, what happened to you? I whispered. A cold breeze brushed past me, inside the sealed apartment. And then I heard it. From the bedroom. A whisper. My name. Slow, drawn out, too soft to be human. But unmistakably in Marcus's voice. I should have run. Every instinct screamed at me to leave. But I stepped toward the bedroom door. My hand shook as I pushed it open. The room was dim, curtains pulled tight, windows locked, no light except the sliver leaking in from the hallway. And in the middle of the room. A shape. At first, I thought it was Marcus. Same height. Same build. Standing with his back to me. But the longer I stared, the more the details dissolved like a photograph smudging in real time. Marcus? I said. The shape twitched. Not turned, twitched. Like a puppet yanked by an inexperienced puppeteer. Then its head tilted. Too far. Way too far. Like its bones didn't remember they were supposed to stop. Its voice came out wrong, Marcus's tone filtered through something that didn't understand how humans speak. You saw me. Not a question. An accusation. I stumbled backward, knocking into the doorframe. The shape jerked once, twice, and then, in one motion too smooth to be natural, it rotated to face me fully. Still not Marcus. Not even close. Up close. More like a sketch of Marcus drawn by someone who had only read a description of him. But the worst part? Its face was empty. Literally. A blank plane of skin, smooth and featureless, like clay waiting to be molded. And then, right in front of me, it began to mold. Eyebrows pushed through the skin first. Then indents where eyes should be. Then a mouth stretching from ear to ear, except it wasn't drawing Marcus's face. It was drawing mine. My own features forming on that shapeless head. My own eyes. My own jawline. My own mouth smiling too wide, like it was proud of itself. I froze. Whatever breath I had left abandoned me. The copy of me took one stiff step forward. Then another. You looked through me, it rasped, repeating Marcus's words. And suddenly I understood. This thing wasn't imitating Marcus. It was wearing him. It had used him. Borrowed him. The same way it was now borrowing me. I ran. I don't remember how my legs moved, or how I didn't fall down the stairs in my panic. I only remember bursting into the sunlight outside Marcus's building, gasping like I'd been underwater for hours. I didn't go home right away. I couldn't. Because if that thing knew how to imitate me, if it knew where I lived, then maybe the person I had seen on my balcony wasn't Marcus at all. Maybe it had always been the thing. And maybe it wasn't done copying me yet. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that face, my face, stretching itself across that thing's skull like wet clay. Its smile. Its movements. The way it studied me. By morning, I had convinced myself of something comforting, if foolish, maybe it couldn't leave Marcus's apartment. Maybe it was stuck there, trapped by whatever rules govern things like it. But deep down I knew better. Creatures that can climb 17 floors without equipment, stand still for hours watching a sleeping man, and mold themselves into human beings. Those things don't obey rules we understand. And I was right. I realized that when I finally returned to my building. When I stepped into the lobby, the security guard, an older man named Ortega, looked up from his desk. His eyes widened when he saw me. He stood up immediately. "Sir, when did you leave the building?" "What do you mean?" I asked. He swallowed hard. "You walked out less than 10 minutes ago. You waved to me. You even asked if I'd seen your friend Marcus around." My blood turned to ice. I've been gone since yesterday," I whispered. He shook his head, pale and trembling. "Then who did I let out?" "I didn't take the stairs this time. I couldn't. My legs felt like rubber bands stretched to breaking. The elevator ride to the 17th floor felt like an ascent into a nightmare tunnel, too quiet, too smooth, like the machine itself was holding its breath. The door opened to my hallway. Long, silent. A straight corridor of beige carpet and fluorescent lights humming faintly overhead. My door was closed. But the doormat was crooked. I never leave it crooked. My hand shook as I put the key in the lock. And then I heard it. From inside my apartment. Footsteps. Slow. Measured. Walking toward the door from the living room. I stepped back. Heart pounding so loudly I could feel it in my teeth. Then a shadow appeared under the door. My shadow. Exactly my height, my posture. A quiet voice spoke through the wood. My voice. "You're early." I stumbled backward, nearly falling. The doorknob turned from the inside. "Wait," I whispered to myself. No, no, no. The door opened. And I saw me standing on the other side. It wasn't imperfect like before. It wasn't a sketch or a draft. This one was complete. My face. My clothes. My posture. Even the small scar on my eyebrow from when I fell off a bike as a kid. Perfect. Except the smile. The smile was too wide. Too knowing. Too patient. It stepped out of my apartment calmly, as if it owned the space more than I ever had. I was hoping for more time. It said in my voice, perfectly natural, perfectly human. I couldn't move. It leaned slightly toward me, eyes bright, curious. "You shouldn't have gone to Marcus's place. He wasn't ready to be seen yet." "Where is he?" I choked out. "What did you do to him?" My double tilted its head. "He's still here. Pieces of him." Its smile widened. "He watches with me." I tried to run. But it grabbed my wrist, its grip strong, cold, wrong. Skin that felt too smooth, too tight over something not quite bone. "You don't understand," it whispered. "We learn by watching." A pause. "You made us better." Then it released me. I stumbled backward, ready to sprint down the hallway. But the thing. My double. Stayed where it was, standing in my doorway like a polite host. "You can go," it said. Its voice softened. Almost comforting. Almost. "But you'll be back. You have to come home sometime." And then it closed the door. Calmly. Quietly. As if it were the one who lived there. I moved out that same night. Didn't even pack. Just ran, like a man fleeing a fire he knows won't stop at the walls. I haven't seen Marcus since. I don't think I will. Sometimes, late at night, when I'm in a hotel or a friend's guest room, I hear tapping on the window. Slow. Rhythmic. Like fingernails. On the second floor. On the fourth. On the ninth. Places where no one should be able to reach. And sometimes I hear a voice through the glass, my voice, soft and patient, "You left something at home." I don't look anymore. I don't want to see what version of me is waiting there. But I know one thing, when Marcus said he watched me from outside, he wasn't warning me about himself. He was warning me about the thing that uses us like blueprints. The thing that climbs walls and scratches messages and molds skin like clay. The thing that never stops watching. And now it has my shape. My voice. My memories. And wherever I go, it always finds me. Because you can't hide from yourself.